Hello and welcome to Trojan Sports Now, the first one of the semester. I'm Jahmal Kennedy.
And I'm Rachael Wilkerson. Stick around as we bring you the latest news and scores from Troy Athletics. Welcome back after a long break. The last time the Trojans took the football field was the night before Christmas at Ladd-Peebles Stadium. The Trojans of Troy met the Bobcats of Ohio to see who would be the Dollar General Bowl champions. Jahmal Kennedy has the highlights from Mobile.
We didn't feel good about that one until the very end.
The very end being when the clock hit 0 and the Trojans were Dollar General Bowl champions after pulling out a close victory 28-23. The Trojans opened up ferociously in a big way on defense, but it was the first play offensively that set the tone for the Trojans.
Yeah, that was our plan. That was our plan. Myself, I did not do a very good job in our Georgia Southern game stretching the field, and we wanted to come in this game and attack.
And on the night defensively, Troy had 5 turnovers, 4 interceptions, and 1 forced fumble, something that Coach Brown was looking forward to when he first added defensive coordinator Vic Koenig to his staff.
That was a huge key when I was able to get this job, and is to hire Vic Koenig.
At first, it took us a while when we first got here last year, back into the process, first couple games.
What he does is he creates tackles for loss, he creates sacks, and our guys play with an edge on defense.
It was a story of 2 halves for the Trojans, dominant on offense and struggling defensively. However, after the intermission, it was very different.
Well, in the first half, offensively, we were in a rhythm. We had, I think we only punted 1 time, maybe in the first, maybe 2, because we didn't execute the end of the half there. But defensively, I thought we had to settle them down at half, because we gave up some passing yardage. They had a good game plan. Let me say this, Ohio's well coached.
The Trojans tallied a 10th win on the season for the first time in the school's Division I history. In order to get to this point, the task was very simple for one player.
When I signed here with Coach Brown, I believed in the process.
This is a big win. Now, this is the first time in Troy's Division I history that we've won 10 games, and that's something that the 16 seniors on our football team will always be proud of.
Jahmal Kennedy, Trojan Sports Now.
In the first quarter, junior running back Jordan Chun took over as the school's all-time leader in touchdowns. Chun finished with 3 rushing touchdowns on the night, bringing his career total to 37. The junior running back was MVP for offense. Senior defensive end Rashad Diller earned the award on defense, and senior kicker Ryan Kay for special teams.
The men's basketball team played 9 games over the break and posted an overall record of 5-4, including a very close 77-82 loss to the Trojans of Southern California, who were then ranked number 24. And last week, Troy Athletics celebrated the men's basketball team, but it wasn't this one under head coach Phil Cunningham. How about the 25th anniversary of the highest scoring basketball game in NCAA history by one team? 25 years ago today, the Trojans took the court against DeVry University in what became a game for the ages here in Troy. And look at the big guy getting up there on the putback dunk. The Trojans under then coach Don Mace were putting up threes like it was nobody's business. And 25 years isn't that long, but it's long enough that your boy wasn't even born yet, and Troy still went by Troy State. I'm sure the guys under Coach Cunningham wouldn't mind having the green light all the time. Look at that. They're just putting up threes and making them. They shot over 100 threes on the day and made 51, an NCAA record. Scored record 123 points in the first half, only to break that record for most points in a half by scoring 135 in the second half, totaling out to 258 points. Ding, ding, ding. Another of the 13 NCAA records the Trojans set on that day, and a record that still stands. Numbers that can only be seemingly put up in a video game were put up in real life by the then Trojans of Troy State. But the Trojans of now hit the court Saturday afternoon against the Mavericks of Texas Arlington, and in Trojan Arena, one Trojan channeled his inner video game of his own.
That's right, Jahmal. It seemed like one Trojan was trying to mirror that 1991 team, but you were there with all the highlights.
Saturday, the Trojans took the court against what many coaches in the Sun Belt Conference considered to be the top team, and came out with an impressive 93-71 victory.
Well, I thought we were really ready to play. I thought we had fresh legs, and these 2 guys really played well tonight. But that was a really good win. One you really needed to get moving forward.
This year's game started in the way that last year's game started, with the Trojans knocking down several shots, junior guard Wesley Person said. But all season long, Coach Cunningham has been harping on one thing.
I think the first thing that stands out, we're just a different team, and they got after us last year, and give them credit for how they played. But And they'll tell you, too, they played against a different team tonight.
Fueled behind his career-high 39 points on 10 three-pointers, Troy needed only do one thing, get the ball into Wesley Person's hands. But according to Person, he needed a game like this.
Well, I know I needed it. Coming off last game, I didn't play too well, didn't hit any shots, and just to come out tonight and hit some shots, it was just a big confidence boost. Yeah, I guess I just kind of got it going, and guys fed off me, and Kevin hit shots, and Jordan hit shots too, and we just kept it going. We just stayed hot all night, making shots. I know we shot a pretty good field goal percentage tonight, and just give credit to us to making right passes in the right place.
When Coach Cunningham saw the schedule, he thought only one thing.
That's going to be a tough one.
But then mentioned how important this win was for his team.
And to get them should just build on the momentum we have. I think we're playing well. I think there's still a lot of room for improvement. But just to get that win, it's just all about confidence moving forward.
Jahmal Kennedy, Trojan Sports Now.
Junior guard Wesley Person brought out his best game against arguably the best team in the conference, and it's no doubt that his teammates did the same. The Trojans look to keep it rolling on Monday night.
That's right, Rachael. The Trojans took on the Texas State Bobcats on MLK Day, and well, things didn't go so well for the Trojans, but I was courtside with the highlights. 75-71, the final score of Monday night's Sun Belt Conference matchup between the Trojans and Texas State, with Texas State coming out on top.
Well, first thing to do is give credit to Texas State. They were really good tonight. Those two stretches they had in the second half where they just kept making shots. That was the difference of the game. They do what they do to everybody. They out-tough you. And they out-toughed us tonight. They were the tougher team on the floor.
The Trojans got off to a slow start offensively, scoring only 23 first-half points on 29% shooting, but got it turned around in the second half.
We came out kind of flat the first half, wasn't hitting any shots, a lot of turnovers, but we just pretty much just wanted to stick to the game plan, throw the ball inside, and just keep running offense. That's the way we've been all season. We've been good on offense. So, I mean, they did play good defense, but we still had to run our stuff, and we executed a lot better in the second half.
Texas State hit what Coach Cunningham described as a back-breaking three-pointer late in the game, but the turning point came just 5 minutes into the second half.
We came out strong, took a lead, and went up 4, and then we had some possessions where we weren't very efficient offensively, and they got in a groove offensively, and that was the difference in the game.
Now on Saturday, Wesley Person had 39 points. Tonight, just 13 on 2 of 8 shooting, something Coach Cunningham attributes to the defense of Texas State, but it wasn't just the defense that they were playing on Person, but the team as a whole.
They're the best defensive team in the league. They're one of the best defensive teams in the country. I think last week they were 16th in the country in giving up points per game. Part of that's because they play slow offensively too, but they're really good defensively. They just did a good job on them. But again, that's what they do to everybody.
Although it was a tough game for the Trojans overall, only losing by 4 to one of the tougher defending teams in the Sun Belt is something to be confident in. Another good note from the Trojans, senior guard Jeremy Holloman extended his consecutive game streak of double-figure scoring to 13 with his 10 points on the night.
And while they were unable to defeat Texas State, the women under head coach Chanda Rigby had a different outcome in their matchup against the Bobcats. Jalen Bivens has the highlights from Trojan Arena.
Thursday night, the Trojans took on the Texas State Bobcats. The Trojans defeated the Bobcats 65-54. Senior forward Caitlin Ramirez was a big contributor for their team with a total of 21 points and 16 rebounds.
It just came down to, me being a senior this year, and I told the coach at the beginning of the year that I accepted that leadership role, and even if that means I got to carry the team on my back, then that's what I have to do. And it was just my time to step up, and I continue to be going to strive to be consistent with it and carry it on throughout conference.
Ramirez stated that Saturday's matchup against UT Arlington is something that she's looking forward to, and that it's on a more personal level.
I know they have a preseason player of the year. I have a little chip on my shoulder because of that, just because that's what I wanted. So we'll just see how it goes Saturday.
The Bobcats managed to cut the Trojan League down to 4 before the half. Head coach Chanda Rigby gathered everybody together and had a few choice words for them.
Just trying to refocus them and say, we don't want them to steal our special today by giving us an L. We want to stay in the W column.
Coach Rigby would go on to say that there are a few things that she wants the team to work on before the Saturday's game.
Well, we want to shoot better. We always want to shoot better, but you can't always control that. But what's got to happen is when we don't shoot well, our intensity has to be really high on a 10. So all the little things are going right, whether it's rebounding or getting steals on the press.
Senior forward Kristen Emerson also recorded her 103rd block. This puts her at number 4 in Troy's Division I history. Jalen Bivens, Trojan Sports Now.
The women would improve their conference record to 4-0 heading into Saturday's showdown with the Mavericks of UT Arlington.
And it was a good one against UT Arlington last Saturday. The women's basketball team opened up the matchup in a big way, with both teams being at the top of the Sun Belt. It was a much anticipated battle of powers, but the Trojans put all that hype to rest. I was courtside with all the highlights. The women's basketball team improved upon their hot start in conference play with the dominating 85-68 victory Saturday over Texas Arlington, even sprinkling in a little history as a result.
Effort and desire won this game. It is the first time in program history to start conference play at 5-0, so we're right in line with our goal to keep up one game at a time to try to win this conference championship.
With both teams being at the top of the conference and being undefeated in conference play, there were some concerns about letting the moment get too big for the players.
I was a little concerned before the game. We had some players that wanted this game so badly that I wasn't sure if it was going to come out with too much emotion and maybe get in foul trouble or overshoot the goal too much. But because that often happens when you see a team that wants it as bad as this team wanted this game tonight.
The Trojans got off to a hot start Saturday, putting up 31 points in the first quarter, something they've struggled to do so far in conference play.
Yeah, beginning in the conference, we struggled at starting the game off strong, and that's one thing that we've been determined to change in the still beginning of the conference, but yet carry it over, and we just got to start the game off first 5 minutes of the game, and we'll just take over from there.
Though Troy led by a large margin most of the way, with UT Arlington being a top team in their own right, it was only a matter of time before they made a run, but Coach Rigby knew just what to do to stall out the Mavericks' trot.
First call timeout and try to gather the team together and try to get them to get back on track. But if that doesn't work, which I think we ran into that, you got to put your starters back in. You got to put and not just the starters, people that are playing really well in the game back in. And that's what we did. You always hope you haven't waited too long to let them get out of a rhythm, but we put them back in. They started attacking the zone defense a little better.
The talk since last Thursday around the team and maybe the conference was the anticipated matchup between preseason player of the year selection Rebecca Van Dyke and Troy's Caitlin Ramirez, whom stated she badly wanted the honors. Though Ramirez scored 17 points, she was more focused on the defense played on the Maverick star.
She's player of the year, so she's their go-to player, and that's one thing. All day in practice yesterday, I wasn't focused on offense. I was determined to get a stop on defense, and I knew I just had to stay in front of her, be physical with her, and make everything complicated for her.
Jahmal Kennedy, Trojan Sports Now. Along with Caitlin Ramirez putting on a dazzling performance, senior Dynamite Amanda Mendoza also dropped 17 in the win for Troy. And as you heard from Coach Rigby, the team improved upon their school record best start in conference play, moving to 4-0.
And following her efforts last week, Caitlin Ramirez was named Sun Belt Conference Player of the Week on Monday. And against the two Texas teams, the senior forward piled up big stats. Ramirez averaged 19 points and 12.5 rebounds between the two games. In last Thursday's 65-54 win over Texas State, Ramirez tallied 21 points and hauled in 16 rebounds. In Saturday's win over Texas Arlington, Ramirez recorded 17 points and 9 rebounds with 5 games into Sun Belt Conference play overall. The senior is averaging 15 points and nearly 11 rebounds. Troy was off to a hot start in conference play, 5-0 to be exact, and looked to improve to 6-0 against Arkansas Little Rock.
And the Trojans women's basketball team was hoping to stay perfect, but in a clash between Sun Belt Conference unbeatens, Little Rock came out just ahead of Troy last night. The Trojans of Little Rock defeated the Trojans of Troy by a 3-point margin, 77-74 at Jack Stevens Center on Thursday. The loss snapped Troy's 6-game winning streak and was the first stubble in league play. Troy had been off to its best conference start in program history at 5-0. Troy shot the ball well but struggled with turnovers despite hitting 6 of 11 field goals in the first period. The visiting Troy turned the ball over 9 times. Troy turned it over a total of 24 times in the game, tied for the second highest total of the season. Senior Isaiah Saunders scored 12 first-half points and finished with a game-high 21 points. Caitlin Ramirez turned in her 4th double-double of the season with 12 points and 11 rebounds. Up next, Troy will complete the Arkansas road swing with a trip to Jonesboro to face off against Arkansas State on Saturday. Tip-off is set for 3 p.m.
Thank you for sticking around to hear the latest in Troy athletics. The indoor track and field season is underway, and Troy's Hakeem Montgomery stole the show at the Vulcan Invite. In just the first competition of the season, the freshman not only ran a best time for the meet, but the sophomore's 6.66 time was tops in the nation in the 60-meter dash category. Teammates Garrison Floyd and Miles Charlie both qualified for the finals in long jump. And on the women's side, junior Naida Alexander finished in second place in the women's 400-meter dash with a time of 57 seconds. Personal records were reached by Gemma Finch and Daniel Glick. Finch ran a 2-minute 17-second personal record in the 800-meter competition, and Glick ran an 8-minute 47-second 3,000-meter run.
The men's tennis team started their season taking third place last weekend at the Florida State Invitational. The Trojans fell early to Georgia State 4-0, but came back to beat in-state rival South Alabama in 2 of 3 sets, putting their conference record at 1-1. Troy only had 2 sets in which they went scoreless on the weekend, and senior Pablo Marino had a standout weekend, going undefeated in doubles play and 2-1 in singles play. Andy Lau paired with Marino to take a 6-2 doubles victory, while Andre Baldo and Hassan Ndiashime walked away with a 6-3 victory. And stick around on Trojan Sports now. We'll have a preview of the Trojan men's basketball team coming up against their Sunbelt Conference Arkansas opponents.
But first, Jahmal sat down with Troy's new cheer coach, Richard Watkins. Stick around for more Trojan Sports now.